Imagine harnessing the power of the sun without ever touching your roof. Intrigued? Let's dive into the world of ground-mounted solar panels and discover why they might be the perfect solution for you. Ground-mounted solar panels provide an additional option for people to use solar energy to power their home. Ground-mounted solar panels get installed by pole mount or standard mount. Ground mount solar panels provide homeowners a way to add solar if their home doesn't have ideal conditions for rooftop solar panels. What is a ground-mounted solar panel? A ground-mounted solar panel is the same as a rooftop solar panel. The only difference is ground mount solar panels get set up on the ground and use a standard installation or a pole mount installation. Some ground mount solar panel systems can move with the sun in order to capture the most sunlight they can each day. Ground mounted solar panels use solar photovoltaic panels, favored by the majority of homeowners as the best solar panels for homes, attached to a frame or a pole. A pole-mounted system can use a single-axis or dual-axis system to follow the movement of the sun to maximize sunlight capture. Ground-mounted solar panels have a racking system and the panels can vary in height from the ground. The panels can stand just a few inches off the ground to several feet. Both systems need a concrete foundation to remain securely in place. Pole-mounted solar versus standard ground-mounted solar. When you decide to have ground-mounted solar, you have two options on how to install them on the ground. The panels can get attached with a pole-mounted system or a standard mount. Standard ground mount solar systems are mounted like rooftop solar in that the solar panels get attached to a metal frame. The frame can be tilted to best capture sunlight. Pole-mounted solar systems plant a pole in the ground with a concrete foundation. Pole-mounted systems can have varying numbers of solar panels attached to one pole, some can hold up to 24 panels. Pole-mounted solar systems come as either top of the pole setups or side of the pole mounts. The difference between the two is that side of pole mounts typically can't use solar tracking, but side of pole mounts can work well for smaller solar systems. Side of pole mounts typically have 2 to 3 solar panels. Benefits of ground-mounted solar. Ground-mounted solar panels can potentially capture more solar energy than solar panels on your roof, depending on where they get mounted and how they get mounted. Depending upon how much space you have at your home, you can have more ground-mounted solar panels than you could on your roof. Or, you could install ground-mounted solar panels in addition to your rooftop panels. Capture more sunlight. Ground-mounted solar panels give you the option on where you want to install your solar panels. With your roof, you're usually limited to the areas that have southern exposure to take advantage of the most sunlight. Your home might not have a lot of southern exposure with your roof and you might not be able to install many solar panels. Depending on the size of your lot, you likely have more space to place solar panels on the ground and add more solar panels with southern exposure to capture more sunlight. With more solar panels, you could increase the amount of power you generate with solar energy. Keep solar panels off your roof. Your roof can be expensive to repair. Ask anyone who's ever had hail damage or had to replace a roof. Solar panels get constructed to withstand weather and not break, but need proper installation to prevent any issues with your roof. If solar panels get improperly installed, you could have water issues, which can lead to expensive repairs. Reduces risk to your home. If you have ground-mounted solar panels, you don't have to worry about the risk of faulty wiring leading to a fire on your roof or improper installation issues. Easier to expand. If you have the space, you can easily expand ground-mounted solar panels and not worry about having a smaller area on your roof for solar panels. Provided you have areas on the ground free from obstructions like trees that can cast shadows over the panels, you might get more efficient use from your solar panels. It's estimated that solar trackers can produce from 10% to 45% more electricity as fixed tilt panels. Easier maintenance. A ground-mounted solar panel system also means you don't have to climb on your roof to do maintenance. It's easier to check the components, like an inverter, of a ground-mounted system. Disadvantages of ground-mounted solar. Ground-mounted solar has advantages under the right conditions, but it might not suit all homes because it requires adequate space, can change the aesthetics of your home and possibly impact your home's value. Needed space. If you plan to power your entire home, you typically need around 20 to 25 solar panels. There are tools available to help you know how many solar panels you need to power a home. A solar panel can be 18 square feet and that's 360 square feet for 20 panels. Ground mount systems give you the ability to have rows of panels to decrease the footprint, or a pole mount system can take up less space by elevating the panels. Environmental impact. There are some concerns about ground-mounted solar and their environmental impact in some instances. Large systems can mean removing vegetation and overhanging trees, or the removal of crops to install solar. Pole-mounted systems can reach high enough heights to not interfere with crops or animals. Permitting solar installation typically involves permitting at some level, usually by a local municipality. Additionally, some power companies have a backlog of customers wanting to connect their solar power system to the grid. One customer in Minnesota was told they'd have to wait 15 years for the utility company to review their solar application. Aesthetics. There are aesthetics to consider with ground-mounted solar. Depending on the location, the panels can remove yard space, plus make the area an eyesore to some people. If you're considering ground-mounted solar, you'll have to decide if you value green energy more than aesthetics, or find a happy balance of the two. Easier to damage depending on how far off the ground your system sits. The possibility of damage can increase the lower that the panels sit off the ground because it can encounter more dust and debris, not to mention any wandering wildlife that might potentially damage the panels or wiring by gnawing on exposed wires. More expensive than rooftop solar. Ground-mounted solar can run more expensive than rooftop solar because it can require additional installation items, like a concrete foundation. The mounting hardware can add expense, and things like solar tracking can increase the cost. Ground-mounted solar systems also require permits, and those add to the total cost. Ground-mounted solar system cost. Ground-mounted solar systems tend to cost more than rooftop installations because of the additional work to complete a ground-mounted system. Several states also offer rebates or incentives for installing solar, while others also offer net metering, where those with solar who produce more energy than they use can sell back to the utility company. Find out what kind of solar power tax credit or incentive your state offers. The best solar companies will insure wires for ground-mounted systems to prevent animals from chewing on them, and you need a concrete foundation to support a standard and pole-mounted setup.